You know, it's going to be interesting to see how they cover this story or how they don't cover this story because this story is something that they're going to have to smother. They're going to have to do something about this woman, Candace Wiggins, saying what she said about the WNBA because this could be a tipping point for the WNBA. You know, it's one of those what she's saying exposes one of the things that they really don't want to get out because right now they're trying to keep pushing the myth that the reason why the WNBA is so popular is because it's only been around for 20 years. You know, those are the excuses that they make for why they have such poor ratings and such low interest. But I mean, the common perception is that it's a lesbians league. It's a league for unattractive, manly females to try to go out there and express their penis envy. And you know, of course, if a man says that, he's being misogynist, he's being a chauvinist. But now this woman, Candace Wiggins, saying what she said, it brings great validity to that sentiment because it's almost like she's a whistleblower. So let's watch and see how they cover this on ESPN.
All right, usually the WNBA offseason.
ESPN, which is a super liberal left wing network.
Season is kind of quiet, but not this time around because of some comments made by former WNBA player Candace Wiggins, a 8-year pro. These comments they have generated a widespread amount of reaction, and here's what she said that kind of touched the nerve with a lot of people. Me being heterosexual and straight and being vocal in my identity as a straight woman was huge. I would say 98% of the women in the WNBA are gay women.
That's huge for her to say something like that. Because if a man says it, then, you know, like I said, he's being judgmental. For her to be somebody who was in the league to say that, that's pretty condemning. Because at the end of the day, the WNBA is trying to sell their product to little girls, and they're trying to sell their product to families. Or at least they act like they do. And they're trying to act like women can be women and still act like men, and we know that that's not the case at all. And I bet you this woman Candace Wiggins doesn't even like basketball anymore. All right, so let's see how this goes down.
Now, she told these comments to the San Diego Union Tribune on Monday, and the WNBA has since responded with this comment from WNBA President Lisa Borders. I found our players to be earnest, heartfelt, and eloquent in their responses to Candace's comments, and as always, clear in their commitment to our league's core values of diversity, inclusion, and respect.
What does that quote have to do with what Candace Wiggins said? What does that have to do with anything that she said? And this woman is clearly a lesbian, or this female, I should say, is clearly a lesbian. So of course, she's gonna back the players because they know that it's a lesbians league. It's a super feminist league. Super feminists hate men. They hate manhood because they wish that they were men. And of course, she's gonna come against what Candace Wiggins said and act like the league is about diversity and inclusion and respect. If your league is about inclusion and respect, then how come Candace Wiggins is saying what she's saying? What does she have to gain by saying what she's saying?
Now, joining us now to discuss this very controversial issue is WNBA.
Ain't nothing controversial about it. It just is what it is. It's just the truth. The truth is only controversial for liars.
NBA Rookie of the Year, UConn standout, Brianna Stewart. Brianna, thanks so much for joining us. Now, just to give the people at home a little bit of background, you called us because you wanted to respond to some of the comments that Candace made. Why did you feel the need to respond? And for that matter, you have the floor. And what do you...
The reason why she called you is because somebody at that Players Association said, we need to have one of our bright young stars call up ESPN and put out this fire. So they chose her. Believe me, that's how it went down. Somebody at the WNBA union, players union, or the commissioner, that same black short-haired lesbian that they got the quote from, probably called her and said, look, we need you to do this.
And what do you want to say?
Well, I think it was important to respond to this, and I think that, you know, obviously with Candace's statements and what she had to say, you know, that's huge, and you don't want to look away from that, and her being bullied and feeling, you know, uncomfortable in the WNBA. That's not what you want. what we want as a league and that type of thing. But also,
and you could tell that the heterosexual women get bullied because you could tell by how they're treated and how they're covered. When you look at females like Skylar Diggins and some of these other, you know, the 2 or 3 cute chicks that's obviously straight in the WNBA, you could tell by how they get treated, as opposed to these other Sasquatch looking bras with the tattoos all up and down their arms.
to come and to really stand as an ally to the WNBA and saying that these stereotypes, they really can't be said. You know, you can't marginalize such a big group and say, oh, 98% of the league is gay.
Mm-hmm. What's your experience been like just in terms of the culture, the locker room, the camaraderie a year into your WNBA?
And even if she said that 98% of the league is lesbian, why is that a big deal? I thought that, you know, according to, you know, the things that get taught in modern day America, that it's not a big deal for people to be a homosexual or lesbian. So why would that be a big thing? You know, see when you're dealing with these left-wing idealists, all you have to do is listen to them talk. After a while, they're gonna refute their own sentiment, because deep down they know that being a so-called homosexual or lesbian is not a good thing. They know that, but they're just pushing it just to promote anarchy. All right, but when it blows up in their face, then they want to backpedal.
Be a career.
Well, I think, you know, having gone through my rookie year, it's been great. And, you know, to Candace's comments, she said the majority of this happened in her first 2 years. So having gone 1 year in the WNBA, it hasn't been anything that she has said. And obviously, you know, she may be accurate in what happened with her career, but, you know, with me, I was in a welcome place. You know, my teammates were great. On the court, it's always going to be competitive. You know, you're going to get pushed around. You're going to get, you know, welcome to the league with even more physical play. But other than that, you know, if you can play basketball and you have the skill set to be there, then you're welcome to be there.
You said at the top of this interview that you recognized that this was her particular experience, but there is a possibility that there could be some other players in the league who are experiencing something similar. What do you think the league can do going forward to make sure there isn't a culture, maybe not where you're playing, but there isn't some underlying culture of bullying and harassment and some of the things she described?
Well, I definitely think that, you know, the league can do a huge job, or has a huge responsibility, to follow through with this. You know, these claims, you can't just, you know, brush them off to the next thing.
No matter what the claims are, the league is not going to follow up. They sent you out there to quell the rumor. Why would you send a rookie out there to represent the NBA? I mean, pardon me, the WNBA. Shouldn't they be sending one of their more experienced players to say this is not true? This is how you know this female here is a pawn. They sent her out there to talk that nonsense. And the funny thing is that I remember a couple of years ago, Andre Iguodala, the player for the Golden State Warriors, he said he doesn't want his daughter playing basketball because he doesn't want her to be a lesbian. And when he said that, this same black female that's on this show, Jamel Hill, and also the black dude, the simp, Michael Smith, they acted like what he said was so ignorant. Because ignorant is the word that a lot of these modern day left-wing blacks use whenever you say something that they haven't been taught by the white liberals that they follow so hard. Right? You're ignorant because you disagree with their BS new age idealism. Now this woman Candace Wiggins come out and said it, and now they take it seriously. Why? Because black people are taught to take what a woman says seriously, but to dismiss what a man says. And that's why, as a race of people, so-called blacks are at the bottom of the barrel. All right?
You know, Candace Wiggins, what she said and you know, how her experiences was, you have to go in and research that and see if it was true or not, and if it's still happening, like you said, in this league. And if it is, then we have some changes that need to be made.
Yeah, Candace, she's not doing interviews at the moment, I believe, waiting to publish her memoir. But if you had an opportunity to speak with her, what would be the one question you'd like to ask her in light of these sweeping allegations?
I think the one question I would ask her is just, you know, why? And
She already said why. Like, why would you ask her a question that she already explained the answer to? She's telling the truth. Like, who the hell are you? You're a damn rookie. Like, get out of here. The real question that these two idiots should be asking her is, are you a lesbian? Because that will explain her stance. That will explain her motivation. That's bad journalism. But like I said, when you operating on a left-wing super liberal network like ESPN, they have to ask certain type of questions a certain type of way or they'll get fired. All right?
And really what happened, be able to really break it down instead of just reading this article and understanding what she went through in her WNBA career and it does suck that it wasn't as good as she wanted it to be and she didn't enjoy it and that kind of thing. But also, why did she throw in the entire league into this huge...
See, these women are scared right now because they see that something like this could destroy their little league. Nobody wants to see these women play. The only reason why the WNBA was formed in the first place was to promote lesbianism. That's the only reason why it formed. Whenever you ask any of these females why the league is not getting any attention, they'll always say because it's only been around for a short time. Well, anybody who goes back to the 90s when the WNBA first came into existence remembers they started out on network television. They were on NBC with the NBA. In the summertime, they would show the WNBA. Now they've been relegated to NBA TV. So they're going down. They're not going up. Nobody cares about these women. The WNBA is losing money. Period. They're being kept afloat by the left-wing agenda to promote lesbianism, and they're being kept afloat by the boon of the NBA. That's why these women have to go abroad and play overseas in the off-season because nobody cares about them. Nobody wants to see a bunch of lesbians trying to shoot a basketball and act like men and chest bump.
Generalization that everyone is gay.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Well, thank you so much, Brianna, for joining us and for letting your thoughts and opinions be heard. As Mike mentioned, Candace Wiggins is not doing interviews at this time. So in case anybody wonders if we're doing one side of this and not the other. So thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having you. You trying to put out that fire. You guys got a few years. You guys got a few years left with that WNBA stuff, man. It's going to come a point where they're going to be like, you know what, ladies, we can't keep this thing going. We're losing too much money. And they better thank the men. But, in America, they teach women to feel entitled all the time, like they deserve things that they really don't deserve. I deserve a fair chance, even though I'm not generating a fraction of the revenue of the men. I still deserve this. No, you don't. But like I said before, that rolls into the female sentiment of entitlement and what they're owed just because they think that they're equal to men and they're not. All right. Nobody wants to watch women play sports, period, other than maybe female tennis. And that's what that damn transsexual Serena Williams, allegedly. But anyway, I just wanted to show this story because I know many people probably have not heard about this. But that woman, Candace Wiggins, she's about to open up a can of worms on the WNBA. All right. Peace.